It was a beautiful, clear winter's day at AA Kyalami, which saw round 4 of Total Super Series 97. The series has taken off this year with massive crowds turning up at the circuits to watch the greatest short-circuit racing ever seen in South Africa. With the first heats in the different categories already completed, all was set for the second heats and the finals. In the super special category, the first heat was won by championship leader Bux Carolyn in his Haas Chenoweth, ahead of reigning champion Wolf-Peter Fumfai, but the start of the second heat almost spelled disaster for Fumfai when he couldn't get off the line. Carolyn immediately took the lead and started to open up a gap from the word go, while behind him a huge battle for seconds started to develop between virtually the whole of the rest of the field, led by Max Moore in his WPP Footloose. Moore was being chased by the likes of Ericsson in his VW Magnum, Bevan Berthold in his Grey Spiner and Paul Kutze in his Orco. Jackie Hubert in his VW Beetle 4x4 Turbo wasn't having a good day and was starting to fall behind. While Carolyn was pulling away at the front, the battle for second was starting to settle down as the drivers watched out for any weaknesses in the opposition's armory. Carolyn won the first qualifying heat convincingly, and the power and handling of his Haas Chenoweth was clearly a cut above the rest. Behind him, Moore was still being followed by Ericsson in his VW Magnum. Ericsson was spectacular around the fast sweeps, but Bevan Berthold in his Grey Spider was even more so. Klaassen was chasing hard too. Moore in second, Ericsson, then Berthold and Klaassen. These four were really giving the crowd something to cheer about. For former Stanley Group N driver Bevan Berthold, number 13 could still turn out to be lucky. Carolyn still extending his lead, but then this huge battle for second position. None of these drivers could be sure of their positions as the slippery surface made mistakes very easy to make. Moore in his WPP Footloose, then Ericsson in his VW Magnum and the hard-charging Bevan Berthold trying to force Ericsson into a mistake. Klaassen in his Dart Toyota was starting to fall back. And Berthold is through, around the outside of Ericsson and into third position behind Moore. But that's Carolyn. He stopped, so we'll have a new leader. Max Moore has taken the lead, but now he's under pressure from Berthold, who's literally almost flying. Carolyn is back in the race, but behind the whole field. These races are 8 minutes plus 1 lap, so he doesn't have a lot of time to make up. The yellow flag is out. And it's Berthold. He's definitely out of the race. It's the last lap, and Carolyn has made an incredible comeback, fighting his way through the field to take the lead from Moore. Carolyn makes it 2 in a row, taking the overall win. Fumfai recovered and caught up to finish 5th behind Kutze and Ericsson, while Klaassen completed the top 6. Second man in the championship, Jackie Hubert, failed to score for the second time on the day.
Bux, the circuit commentators are calling you Caroline. Was that a question of sweet Caroline?
I don't know. They obviously don't know so well, these guys, but it was the car's lekker. We had a few problems with the wiring problem, but I sorted that out. The car went well and we had a good race. I really enjoyed it. The car's going lekker. Had great fun.
To the juniors now, and the main race of the hour. On lap 2, he was trailing Neville Bradshaw on his Suzuki and reigning champion Jaco Wolmerans on his Honda. The championship leader had some hard work to do if he wanted to hold on to his unbeaten record this year. Bradshaw was benefiting from the fact that Wolmerans and Swanepoel were keeping each other busy and was pulling a slight gap. Wayne Haley on his Honda was 4th, followed by Vaughan de Buisson, Mario Foster, Lawrence Mahoney and Grant Wheeler. Bradshaw in the lead, coming up the hill, but behind him Swanepoel has had a good exit through the left-hander and was pulling up next to Wolmerans. The Honda rider had no answer as Swanepoel moved up into second. Now he was setting off in pursuit of Bradshaw, who knew that he was going to have a fight in his hands to hold on to his lead. Unfortunately, the end of the road for Michael Koch on his Kawasaki, but in the front, the battle for the lead was hotting up. Swanepoel has caught up with Bradshaw. He tries him on the inside, but the Suzuki rider will have nothing to do with it. On the inside again, and this time he doesn't. But Bradshaw desperately holds onto his line for the right-hander to come. Yes, now he's through. Gareth Swanepoel takes the lead on his Elna Fox Kawasaki, but Bradshaw is not about to give up and he's staying glued to the rear wheel of the championship leader. somebody's down. He'll have to get out of the way quickly, and he seems to be a little shaken. But Swanepoel doesn't get shaken easily. In fact, he's shaken off all signs of the opposition and was cruising to the end. Lawrence Mahoney has crashed out of the race, but no such problems for Gareth Swanepoel, who goes on to take his 12th consecutive victory of the season and maintains his unblemished record. Swanepoel and Bradshaw finished in that order for the day too. In the Super Quad category, Jacques Struwweg and Evan Hutchison shared the victories in the first two races, so the main event would settle the overall winner for the day. 3 laps into the race, Hutchison was chasing Clayton du Plessis for the lead. Du Plessis had a second and a third in the previous 2 races and was determined to hold on to his lead. Hutchison, the championship leader, was finding the opposition tougher as the season progressed. All the riders in this category are on 200cc Yamaha blasters, so only the preparation of the machines and the skill of the riders make a difference. Jacques Struwweg was starting to make his presence felt as he moved past Derek Robertson into third. Du Plessis, Hutchison and now Struwweg. It's going to be between these 3 for victory. Through the flat-out left-hander just after the finish line, and Du Plessis was starting to open a gap. Ominously for Hutchison, Struwweg was getting closer all the time. On the wet and slippery surface, these machines are very difficult to drive smoothly and fast. Struwweg wasn't having everything his own way as Robertson was fighting back and pushing as hard as he could. Still Du Plessis and Hutchison, then this battle for third between Struwweg and Robertson. On the downhill, Struwweg clearly enjoyed an advantage and he was starting to pull away. But Hutchison couldn't care less. He was itching to get into the lead. Du Plessis, however, wasn't going to let him have it on a tray. The only clean man in the field was the leader from the start, Clayton du Plessis. But that's about to change as Evan Hutchison moves past to go into first. Now Hutchison, who's been dominating this category this year, in his customary first position. Then du Plessis and in a distant third, Jacques Struwweg. But his fitness has always counted in his favor. Great racing and a crowd enjoying themselves, the ingredients of a fun day at AA Kyalami. Not too much joy for Clayton du Plessis though, as a few laps later, Jacques Struwweg moves past and into second place. Not without a fair amount of coercion though. With the slower riders being lapped now, the front runners had their work cut out and the order was Hutchison, Struwweg and du Plessis. Struwweg didn't find it too difficult, his tremendous turn of speed hurtling him past the back marker. The last lap board is out and Struwweg knows that it is probably not going to be possible to catch Hutchison for the lead. But with Hutchison finishing only in the middle of the field in the first heat, Struwweg knew that he stood a good chance of taking the overall win for the day. It was difficult to distinguish the riders from each other as they came up the hill towards the finish line, but the order was still Hutchison, Struwweg and du Plessis. And that's the way they finished, with Struwweg taking the overall win for the day, followed by Brandon Martin after consistent top 4 finishes in the 3 races and Clayton du Plessis.
Even a better finish to the day than the start, huh?
Yeah, unfortunately in the first race, in the first corner, I was knocked out off the track into the trees. And by the time I got my back on the track, the pack was gone, so there was no chance of catching them. Luckily in the second heat we got a win, and the last heat we've also got another win. But we'll have to see how the points work out for the day.
Back to the two-wheelers now, and the two